Good morning. Good morning. What's up, y'all? It's your boy ARP, and we back here with the Sorry It's True podcast. Shout out to everybody that's already coming into the chat. I see y'all. I see y'all. And yo, shout out to official EDC, man. Like I commented back to you in the chat, man. The Street Fighter font. You know what I'm saying? I'm having fun, man. I'm messing around with different stuff. But we got a lot to go over. We got a lot to break down and talk about. I got some videos to bring up. I got some articles and some reminders that we need to check out. I want y'all to see ASAP's reaction in the courtroom to the not guilty verdict. If you haven't seen it, we're going to react to it here together. But before we get into that, I want to say congratulations to ASAP Rocky and congratulations to his family. Congratulations to his legal team. I do like to see the wins when it feels like it's deserving, man. I think we all do. Jay-Z just had one, right? That situation felt like a money grab. Get a man his win. You know what I'm saying? Dismiss that bullshit. Get off the table. This whole thing with ASAP Relly, we got a lot to talk about with him. I don't think he sits comfortable with a lot of people, right? ASAP deserved this win. That's what it felt like as far as from a moral standpoint. That's what it felt like, even from a defense standpoint. You know, the prosecution did a good job. You know, there's some times, especially in the closing statements, I was like, the prosecution they snapping. I ain't gonna lie, they was having a classic third round, but the chips fell where I felt like they deserved to land for more reasons than one. Okay, so let's bring up the his actual reaction to the not guilty verdict. And let's check this out first. That was dope to watch, man. He tackled man. But the emotion of that, man, we would all probably react the same way, man. He almost took Rihanna's head off. Such a dope reaction, man. I don't know why. It's like, I don't know the man. I don't know why I had a proud moment watching that. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? But real quick too, before we get a little bit more serious, I need to ask a question, chat. Why is it that the internet can never be serious, right? Why is it that the internet can never be serious? Exhibit number one. What the fuck? Yo, y'all remember that viral footage of dude that popped on a judge? And when he was on some Superman type shit. Yo, why did they try to create that into Ace? Yo, the internet can never take shit serious, man. Man is facing like 20-something years. It got me crying, B. Live, man. That's why I hate doing lives. I love doing lives, but I hate doing lives. He's facing 20-something years, man. The man took flight. And what did they do? They pull up that old shit. ASAP took flight. Oh shit. Let me calm down so we could get into this. Oh shit. Damn. Okay. We also got footage of Big Tony, man. His defense attorney, his lead defense attorney, speaking after the verdict. Let's check this out real quick. This is going to be another quick short one.
Back to that news conference where ASAP Rocky was found not guilty of gun assault charges, and we want to listen into his attorneys and possibly the prosecution at this time.
Look at that. Hey, guys, we can't do this if everyone's going to yell. We'll just have to leave. But listen, guys, listen.
That's defense attorney Joe Tacopina, if I'm not mistaken. I think I recognize his voice, and that's ASAP with a big smile on his face right there.
Guys, bottom line is we're grateful for the jury. They saw through this mirage of a case. We said from day one he was innocent. He turned down a plea for almost no jail time because he was innocent. And I've always said the extortion played out live in color in court. You know, we've always said what it says is that the district attorney should look long and hard at prosecuting Tyrell Efron. We've said that from day one. We've said that from day one. They should do it now. They have him admitting to perjury. They have him committing extortion. The jury saw through it and came to an enormously quick and speedy verdict, the right verdict, and we thank this jury. And again, for me, my partner Chad, we're honored to have represented this amazing family. Rocky is one of my closest friends, but he's also just a great person. Rihanna, they are seriously the greatest people, and I said I love them, and I really do love them, and I got emotional in my summation because I care about them. This is one of the happiest days of my life, and I'm happy for them because they've earned this and deserve it. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Thank you, brother.
Oh yeah, you best believe, man. Friends for life now. If you wasn't then, you damn sure are now. You put in the call to Rocky or to Rihanna. Hey man, I need you to attend my wedding. Come do a quick little pop up or walk through or a little two song segment at my daughter's birthday. Or hey man, you know I got some issues, man. You let me hold some. Hey, hold down this little $250,000 real quick. Like yeah, friends for 20 years. You and your family, you just help them beat that, man. So yeah. Joe did a great job in his closing arguments as well. I ain't gonna lie, a lot of us felt real sketchy early on because all we looked at for the most part is the amount of time in the plea deal that he was offered. Even the judge was scratching his head like, are you sure you understand these terms? Rocky's like, yes, Your Honor. He was like, and if this you blow trial and you could be faced, you and your legal team understand this? Rocky's, yes, Your Honor. And when we looked at that older TMZ footage, it's like over a year old of his attorney Joe. What was he saying? He was like, no, we're very, very adamant that we're going to be able to win this, and the type of evidence that we're going to be bringing into this trial, they're not prepared for. And there was also that little skepticism, like, is Joe going that heavy because he's also involved in a civil suit because he feels like if he could win the case instead of taking the plea, if he could win the case, then that also tarnishes the civil suit that Relly put in towards the attorney and Rocky? Is that his motivation? I was scared of that. I was like, I hope you don't got your own personal motivations. You're not the one that's going to have to sit down for 20 plus possibly. But he proved out the two main objectives, which was targeting the gun. Is it real, semi-automatic versus a prop gun? And targeting the credibility of ASAP Relly. Should we even still call him ASAP Relly anymore? He's just going to fade away as just Relly. Like he's done. You saw even 50 Cent posted him calling him ASAP Telly. He's done in the industry. His name is done. Rocky won. You're blackballed. He was saying that during. And now you're probably not even going to have the money to go sit up with. But we'll get there. All right. Let's get into the title, how it says, here's how he won. Let's focus first now on Reasonable Doubt. It's not just the Jay-Z album, right? We hear that said a lot. Reasonable Doubt. Most of us just say, all right, reasonable doubt, if there's any doubt in your mind, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit, right? and raising reasonable doubt as a defense, we hear it so often. Let's just read the definition real quick. Reasonable doubt is a legal standard that requires the prosecution to prove a defendant's guilt beyond reasonable doubt. It's a key part of the criminal justice system that protects defendants from wrongful conviction. How it works: the prosecution must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, but not to absolute certainty. The defense can use reasonable doubt to prevent a conviction if the evidence is not convincing enough. So you may have some evidence, but if it's not fully convincing, like reasonable doubt is going to be an approach that you're going to use. The standard is based on reason and common sense, and it's applied when considering all the evidence in a case. The common sense aspect comes down to the jurors, and you hear people say stuff like that in closing statements. Use your common sense. There's no fingerprints. There's no this, there's no that. Relly said this about these shell casings. Just use your common sense. What is your gut feeling and your common sense telling you about some of this evidence that's on the table? We don't need to go through the rest of the definition, but when we hear reasonable doubt, that's very, very key in what ASAP's defense used here. Also, what comes up a lot is the burden of proof, right? When we hear that, burden of proof, think about it. If I'm the defendant, if you walk into a court right now and you sue me and you say, ARP, he stole from me, right? My defense might show reasons why, or facts or evidence why I couldn't have been the one that robbed you, or I didn't steal from you. but the burden of proving it is on the plaintiff. And sometimes that's a fine line of balancing that and saying like that I'm not going to overstep myself to prove out as a defendant whether I did or I didn't, because it's your responsibility to walk into court and prove that. The burden of proof is on the plaintiff, Even sometimes during certain arguments between attorneys or the prosecution side or the state side and the defense, you'll hear something like burden shifting. Like if you hear the prosecution say something like, he hasn't proved why his fingerprints aren't on it. Well, I'm not supposed to. The burden of proof isn't on me. You prove why my fingerprints are or are not on the shell casings. You get it? So more angles, more tactics, more using actual legalities in your defense to develop a very, very strong position for Rocky is what Joe did. Now let's go down this list. Now that we on the same page about burden of proof and reasonable doubt. The first real big factor here, was it a real gun? Y'all could drop in the chat. Y'all could drop in the comments. Do you believe that it was a real gun? I'm gonna keep it 1,000, man. The prop gun theory has never been something easy for me to go along with. Okay. Is he in the music industry? Does he do music videos? Is there prop guns in Hollywood and those type? Yes. But he's licensed and he owns real guns in his home, which is why even his house got raided. Remember, they found a clip, a 9mm clip to, I believe, a Glock 43. Never found the gun, though, that matched it. Is it possible, people, that, of course, he didn't shoot Relly? We'll get into Relly in a second. But is it possible that he lit off warning shots from a real gun? It's possible. The prop gun thing it's never been easy to me, but this is why I started off with the reasonable doubt. Okay? Because if you're trying to show me these injuries, it doesn't look like a real gun. So you could be on the jury and say, man, I don't know about this prop gun theory and all this type of shit. But do I feel 1,000% that it can't be? Reasonable doubt, people. Okay. So the gun was always going to be huge. We just mentioned it. Let's get into the second huge one. Relly's injury. Let's bring it back up on the screen. Let's take a look at it in real time, because Relly took the stand and they claimed this was from a gunshot. Okay. Now, even if I didn't want to fully believe, like, this prop gun that the defense is telling me, I don't know about that. These gangster rappers got real guns. ASAP's license got real guns in his house. I don't know about this prop gun shit. And he knew he was going to a situation. He bought a prop gun. I don't know about that. ASAP's a little bit more street tuned than that. But if you tell me that this is the injury, now I got a big problem. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 3 knuckles, right? 3 knuckles. So your knuckles, your hand, within the mix of this altercation, these 3 fingers had to be lined up perfectly, and the bullet had to scale the top of these 3 fingers, right? And that doesn't even look like a skit. Like I said it before, we've all had that a million times. Whether you're boxing without your hands being wrapped, whether you got rug burns, whether you play fighting, whether he went home on his own and went like this on a carpet and then put his hand in front of a camera. I mean, there have been miracles in the world before, right? You saw Pulp Fiction when dude came out and dumped it on John Travolta and Samuel L. And they looked at each other. It's like, damn, like a point blank range, you missed. There are miracles in this world. This just doesn't look like one. And I don't think the whole jury or anybody was buying that this was a gunshot wound. And that moves even further into the painting of the picture of Relly, right? But before we get more into Relly, the next big point was self-defense, okay? Self-defense. So Relly, from within the footage, remember, there's 2 charges. It's assault with a semi-automatic handgun but the 2 charges come from the 2 locations. The first location in front of the parking garage, where ASAP or Rocky initially backed out and they were scuffling and shit. And the second one comes from when they bended like 2-3 corners. They show Relly following the ASAP members, Rocky and his other 2 homies, right? They get into it again, and that's where the shots are let off. So it's assault there, and it's the initial assault from the first place, right? Those are the 2 charges that Rocky had. But when we look at the footage and they pull up the map and they show us, like, Relly, you followed them on your own. You followed them after you're saying that he already pulled out a gun on you and aimed it in your chest. So then you followed him around 2 corners, knowingly that it was a real gun. Then we look at the footage and they're painting these pictures blurry as shit. The footage within itself creates reasonable doubt. But then they're looking at this footage and they're both sides going on. It's blurry. And we're just like, okay, you're telling me that the red sweater is this person and the black sweater is this person. All right, I'll take your word for it. Cool. But then you're also showing like little skirmishes too. Like, wait, Relly, is that you punching on the other member? Did you just chase this member? Like, you look like the aggressor. And then they paint them as the biggest of the group, the strongest of the group, the toughest of the group, the aggressor. And then when you're the aggressor, you got stuff that comes into the equation and thoughts that come into the minds of the jurors of self-defense. So if I backed out this prop gun to scare you away from me, it's because I'm scared of you or because I'm trying to retreat from you and get away from danger. Hey, I mean, it doesn't always pay to have the reputation of being the biggest, the strongest, or the toughest. Because when people get into these situations, the door is open for self-defense. You see me when I talk about, you see the video I did the other day on Hitman Holla and the unwelcome guest to his event. And I talk about, like, it's actually the mature thing to do to not go around people that you don't get along with, right? Now, you want to pull on my old footage and bring it into court. That's how I talk. That's how I stand. That's what I believe in. Not that I'm the guy on camera from 5 years ago and you got footage of me saying, oh, you got a problem to me, I'm pulling up. No. If I hurt you badly, right? Something happened, and I'm telling you, I probably felt like I was threatened. I felt like I was threatened, and I was probably put in a position of self-defense. Self-defense. Don't tell me I'm allowed to defend myself and then burn me and give me 20 years for it, right? So that's part of the picture of Relly being the aggressor and following them and being the bigger guy. They painted all that, and it worked well. It worked well. Next up, the shells found, right? The shells found at the scene. Remember, people, you had how many police officers? They say like half a dozen or whatever that scoured this same place. They brought up body cam footage to show that these officers were standing in the same spot that the altercation happened, the second assault charge, you know what I'm saying, where the gun actually was let off or the prop gun was actually fired, right? They didn't find any shell casings, right? Relly's able to come back and find the shell casings that trained police officers aren't. That doesn't look good. Then you're going to tell me you stopped at Starbucks, you picked up a paper bag, so you're in your detective bag, right? And then you used a pen to pick them up. Okay, you watch TV, Law and Order and The Wire and all that. You know not to put your fingerprints on it. Okay, even though Rocky's fingerprints wasn't found on the shells either. Okay, cool. The next day, you turn them into the precinct yourself. All right. What was you on? You was playing detective? You went back to the scene of the crime? Like, it just never looks good. You're going to bring evidence into the court, and the hands that it went through is the accuser? What? Yeah, so that was a big piece as well. If you're on that jury, you don't like that. You don't like that. He looks like he's seeking out other things as well, and we'll get there in a second. Let's get into one that I always was big on from prior streams when we discussed this guy. Credibility, okay? Once again, it's one of the first things that attorneys will attack, your credibility. Where are you from? How you grow up? What do you do for a living? What have you done over the last 6 months? Do you have a job? Like, they've asked really some of that, right? How much money is in your savings account? How much, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever been in the prostitution or like pimping world or whatever? Like, that was asked to Relly. Credibility Credibility. What's more credible on a stand? Some law-abiding citizen that's never been in trouble before and has this clean background in Instagram that's put on a stand and ask questions versus somebody that's been convicted of 20 crimes, right? And just try to lie to the authorities and pass cases 50 times over. Which one is going to come off more credible to the jury? They're already going to look at you. There's still humans that's looking at this shit. Yeah, they're supposed to be following the law, reasonable doubt, this and that, yada. But they're still looking at you like, now you used to do this, huh? Or you used to do that, huh? Okay. Oh, look at your Insta. Oh, you was threatening him over here about the funeral cost, huh? Now all of a sudden you're the victim. It's hard for people to look at you in that light. His credibility was trashed. That's why you see, even in that small presser after the verdict outside, what did Joe say? What did Rocky's attorney say? He said, I think the court should now go after Relly for perjury. For perjury. You see Rocky in the background shaking his head yes right there. Go after him for perjury. Clearly lying on the stand. When we watched Relly up there during this trial, you know, of course, he knows that the prosecution's questions towards him, they're going to be in his favor. So he's compliant. He's clear. He's not agitated. He answers more in full questions. His memory doesn't evade him all of a sudden. Defense starts asking him questions. What do you mean? I don't know. I never did this. They ask him things about these text messages. When he goes to the cops and he turns in his fucking phone to the precinct, where's okay, I see the thread where you're talking about you questioning Rocky. Yo, why'd you try to shoot at me and whatnot? What about the thread before that? Why is that gone? Why did you delete that? But Rocky still got it, dickhead. And he turns it in and they bring that up. Why did you delete? Why did you feel the need to delete these text messages before you turned your phone in? I don't know. Like, I probably hit the delete button on accident. That's how Relly comes off. That's the type of answers that he's giving in front of the jury. Just clearly lying and bullshitting. And once again, these jurors are human and they have common sense. They even need to use common sense to apply. What did we say earlier? Reasonable doubt. So if somebody asks you, is this your Instagram up on the screen right now? And Relly goes, oh, I'm not sure. Is this your @ it might be. Did you post this? I forget. The jury's gonna look at you like, nigga, what? And you sued me, you put me on the stand. Boy, listen. It's so easy to glide through the truth. Boy, listen. Put me on. Boy, anyway. So the jury's looking at him like I could believe 10% of what comes out of your mouth when you're answering the defense, right? You're very adamant when we start talking about money or if you got shot or your knuckle scrape. But all these other questions that come in as we go through this 4-week trial, your answers are shit. Your credibility is gone. Your credibility is tarnished. And you want people to rule in your favor? Good luck. Good luck. Last but not least, now on this side for Relly and the accusing side is the money grab factor. I like continuing to mention the jurors because they're humans just like the rest of us, right? Hey, chat, drop a comment if you like to see people get what they don't deserve. Nobody's gonna comment, oh yeah, like unless it's a lottery ticket, right? And even then, hell, you bought it and you played the numbers. If the luck dropped for you, the luck dropped for you. People don't, by human nature, people don't like shit to just be given to you, right? Look at all the fire that Bronny James got, right? I give that credit to LeBron James as a father. You know what I'm saying? I love that situation, but that's another conversation. You know how much fire LeBron and Bronny came under simply because they feel like there's a lot more better basketball players out there than Bronny. It's a human. People just, when you work hard, there's a lot of people in this chat right now that's on their way to work, right? This is just how they're starting their morning. They're listening to me in the background while they still brushing their teeth, brushing their hair. They putting on their clothes. They about to get in the car and get on the highway. It's still fucking dark outside. And they taking their ass to work, to grind, to earn a living, to earn a check, to feed themselves and their family and pay their fucking bills. These are your jurors. And then we got to look at an ASAP Relly up there with text messages talking about, well, it's all good. I don't care if people call me a snitch or not. A couple months from now, I'm fitting to be all laid up on an island. When people's just like, You want that Rihanna check, don't you? But you ain't earn it, mother. People don't like that. None of us, we don't like that. We just don't fuck with it. And it looks like a money grab. You up here with these fucking knuckle injuries, and your civil suit is $30 million, and you lying up here on people's like, even if you did get grazed, even if the gun was real, you don't deserve. That's how people feel towards Relly. His testimony was so trash. And not only the money grab aspect, but Rocky's defense also is able to mix in extortion with it. This is extortion because all these text messages and some of these early interactions from both sides is just like, yo, cut a check. Or you went to civil before you, or it was a police officer that told you to do this, and you went in, or you left LA and you went to New York to seek some type of evaluation or mental health thing. Like, it don't look good. It ain't good. It all stinks from a mile away. And the extortion, the money grab, if everybody's looking at Relly up on a stand and they're just like, yo, everything in these text messages and all this lead up just paints a picture of you wanting to live the lavish lifestyle, and this is your opportunity. Actually, here's a picture of it, right, that gives these type of vibes. Let's bring this up on the screen. Now, simply, it would look like, all right, this is ASAP Relly standing in front of a yellow Range Rover, right? By the way, Range Rovers don't cost no $1 billion. You don't need to be a millionaire, live the Rihanna and the ASAP Rocky lifestyle to have a Range Rover, but it's still a luxury vehicle. The average person that has maybe $600 in their savings account, like maybe allegedly a ASAP Relly, takes a picture in front of a yellow Range Rover. This is a big look for him. He's trying to show the people that follow him or show the industry, I'm looking the part. Like I'm out here. I'm looking a certain way. I'm not attacking him right now. This was part of Joe's attack. This was part of Rocky's lawyer's attack. They brought up his Instagram. They asked him about stunting and fronting. They asked him about this type of stuff. Do you own this type of stuff? Do you post like this because you're trying to? Well, he's in the industry. We give examples plenty of times of people that fake it till they make it. They try to look the part that's nowhere close to what they are. And Relly was painted as one of those people, right? You want to live the lifestyle, but you haven't earned it. And this right here, you saw as your ticket to be there, for you to actually earn or drive this Range Rover. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking sad. I mean, a lot of people take pictures next to cars or sitting on cars or inside cars. It's not theirs. Different conversation within itself. But we painted a picture of Relly. Well, I shouldn't say we, Joe and the legal defense team did, of, yo, you's a stunting ass nigga, and this is just what you want. Hence the extortion. Hence this being more about money than your alleged injuries, right? So great defenses and approaches, and using Relly against himself. Here was some of the fails. All right, makes sense to still talk about some of these. These are some of the ones that scared us for Rocky. Like we said earlier, the first one was, hey, is Joe's incentive towards not taking that plea deal because he wants to attack the civil suit himself as well? And once again, when you have your own incentives, that's a little but on the flip side, it could also make you fight even harder. So I guess I could look at that side of the coin as well. But some of the other fails was one of his boys, the guy with the slick back hair that took the stand and was trying to deliver the story for Rocky. Yeah, I'm the one that put the clip there, and I grabbed the wrong one off the shelf, because when you go in the store, they're all there, and I grabbed the wrong one, and then we were supposed to be going to the shooting range, and I get it. Rocky has friends, and you're going to have some of these people testify under oath and say things that's in your favor. Even if it doesn't fully line up, even if it makes me scratch my head a little bit or triggers my spider sense, maybe it still does what it needs to do. How do we start this stream, people? Creates reasonable doubt. But, me, when I watch some of the stuff in court, I don't necessarily apply the reasonable doubt factor. It's important for us to do that because that's what's supposed to steer you towards your decision as a juror. We just look at it and say, that feels like bullshit. So I'm on this. You can't. You got to do the legal reasonable doubt thing. But that bothered me a little bit. I'm just like, dude's not clean. And his fight with the prosecutor when he was getting questioned by them, he didn't do too good. The story just seemed like this is one of Rocky's boys, and hey, get up here and say this, man, help me out. Hey, it plays, it works. It's still part of your defense. The other one was where's the real Glock? Where's the real gun? Right? The prop gun, put it this way, let me start here. No face, no case, right? How many people have been convicted that had masks on, right? In the alleged Dirk shooting, they were masked up. In the Dolph shooting, they were masked up, right? And I say the no face, no case thing to also now lead into, if you don't have the gun, you don't have a case. That's like a bad mentality to have for some of you criminals. It's just not the world that we live in, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it play out. Just because the prop gun wasn't recovered or the real gun to match that 9mm that they confiscated from Rocky's crib wasn't found, that doesn't mean like, oh, they don't got nothing on me now. No, because then the prosecution would just paint an angle of, well, where is it? Did you hide it? Did you throw it away? Did you toss it in the lake? You know what I'm saying? Why would you have a loaded clip without the gun? Where's, like, that doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? And once again, the burden of proof being on their side, I understand the attack, but it didn't look good. It looked like a fail on their side, for Rocky to just have some of this stuff vanish, right? Put it this way. If it was a prop gun and they raid his crib and they find the prop gun, we're done, right? We're done. But you go in there instead, you find real ammunition and real clips and real guns, real rifles and shit. Like, so I thought that was a little, be careful. And I already spoke about it being a prop gun, how that was tough for a lot of us to begin with. So all in all, I feel like those are the pros and the cons to his defense, but that's why he won. The reasonable doubt factor, the burden of proof being on the prosecution, ASAP Rocky being a lying witness and being the furthest from credible on that stand, the money grab extortion angle, the self-defense, you really are the aggressor angle, and the footage, and the gun factor, that could still go either way. And even if you feel like I think that was a real gun and I only got the clip, it still leaves the reasonable doubt. So a lot of these big pieces still roll up into that top reasonable doubt aspect. And he got his not guilty. And I'm glad he did, man. I'm glad he did, because ASAP really he doesn't seem like a good person. He doesn't seem like a good person. He seems like a money grabbing, lying, stunting guy on IG that whatever tension and beef that they had, because that within itself is an issue, acting like, oh, this is all I just pulled up to prove that this was still my brother and we was going to get over this and have a stronger bond. Okay, then what's these other text messages in this group chat about, like, yo, if Rocky don't pay for this funeral, it's going to be problems. You know what I'm saying? Like to a degree, you was going behind Rocky's back, possibly lining him up too. Whether you could say for physical altercations or when you're talking to people and you're shitting on his character, maybe you got people close to him looking at him a certain way. So Rocky was also a backstabber. I never, ever, ever will give Rocky a pass for pulling any type of weapon on what you consider a friend. If Rocky pulled up to that situation, still in his mind that this is my friend, you never draw a weapon on your friend, ever. So Rocky can't get a pass for that. But this guy, Relly, he don't seem overall like a good person or a good man. And for that, I'm glad this verdict landed the way that it landed. So once again, shout out to Rocky. Shout out to his family. Interesting case. Learn some new stuff. I did. Hope y'all did too. But we'll be back ASAP. More Sorry Is True on the way.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss, making decisions my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry Street Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.